And we're on.
All right. So this is a mix, analog mix of a song by Meli, and she wrote this song called Love Hard, sent it to me with a Logic demo, and immediately I heard piano and strings on it. So she brought her pianist in, and actually one of our students, Elliot, arranged a 3-part string section. So we had Elliot, Caroline, and Sarah on strings, on violin, viola, and cello. So all that was recorded, the piano and the vocals were recorded live, and then all the strings were overdubbed as a trio. We actually set them in the room and recorded them as a trio, and we did a few other little spiced up overdubs too. So we're looking at the mix today, and this is a complicated one. I'll just break down a little bit of it. Basically what's happening is I've used one plugin in this mix, and that's so I could have a high pass filter on the cello because I ran out of EQs. So there's only one plugin on the whole mix. Everything else is fully analog. So if we were to look at the channels in Logic, you're going to see that from left to right, they're coming out outputs, individual outputs, and they're going into the SSL. Cool. Right. And as we zoom back here, you'll see the SSL and where all the channels are coming in. So the piano, I recorded a low and a high mic, and then a room mic with a U87. And so I put those on channels 1 through 3. And then these are all strings here that I was able to balance and pan out, but they're not going to mix A. They're going to mix B only, and they're being blended in from mix B. The reason I did that was so that we could insert and steal this. You can steal the first pair of 500, or mix B steals the second pair of 500s here. So I'm compressing with these guys, the strings overall. The lead vocals was really fun. I reamped the vocal and gave it some distortion. You can come back a little, it's okay. And gave it some distortion. And I blended that in just slightly to the mix, but I sent it to the reverb more, which was an interesting happy accident because there's more distorted vocal in the verb than there is in the actual mix. So it just adds a layer of harmonics, basically. The lead vocal itself is right here. I put it on 13 a lot because I love using this Neve EQ with the lead vocals. This 80 hertz high pass just makes the vocal lift up on top of the mix. I'm rolling off a little bit of 200 real slightly to get rid of some lower mud. I'm also rolling off a little bit of 300, actually quite a bit of 300, but with a really narrow Q, just to get rid of that. When she gets into that nice low warm tone, there's a little bit of muddiness in the mic recording, so I got that out with the EQ. And then we boosted, I actually rolled off from 16K just to darken up the vocal, because at the end of all of that stuff, I actually inserted the air EQs. Now the folks at MAG are really cool, and they make this amazing EQ called an air EQ. And what it does is it allows you to boost 40K, 40,000 hertz. And I'm boosting it a lot, and you don't really hear it, but you feel it. It just opens up the top end. It's really warm and like really nice, airy sound. And then I boosted just one notch of 2.5. I had it like 2 or 3 notches and it was too much. I cut a little 650, still getting rid of some of that upper mud part. Boosted just a touch of 160 to give it a little fullness, a little bit of 40 to bring in some real fullness in the bottom. And that's on the overall mix. So on the SSL, it's really cool. You can actually insert the 500 unit into any mix bus and steal a pair. So mix A, I'm stealing these two. That's what they call it. So I'm inserting these 2 EQs to mix A. That's the overall mix. And I'm inserting these 2 compressors into mix B to compress the strings. On top of that, we've got insert on here on mix A, if you notice. And that's coming over here. This Rupert Neve Designs Portico 2 master bus processor is inserted after the EQs, after the MAG EQs. And what this is doing is it's acting like a compressor and a limiter, a stereo widener, and a depth control. This thing is amazing. I've overdone it before and it's ruined a mix, but this time I think I got it. So if you use just a little compression, and you can actually blend it in, so I'm not even blended a full amount, You can use the silk feature with this. I didn't do that this time. And then I used a little bit of limiting, and this is in stereo mode, link, so that it affects, this side affects both sides. The really amazing part of this too is this depth control. I just did a little bit of depth on the overall frequency range, but you can focus it on a frequency range with this EQ button. The width though, I did widen out the full range, and then I ended up trying the high mid setting. So if you hit this EQ button, you select which range of frequencies you want to widen. So I'm just widening the high mids so that the lows stay present, but the high mids kind of spread out. It's really nice sounding. And we put this Manly ELOP on the piano. I always love this tube compressor on piano. And of course, the Day King on the lead vocals. What else? Oh yeah, we're using a little bit of this TC electronic just for a little bit of echo, dynamic delay on just the room piano mic and just part of the vocals, and a little bit from the strings too. And then I'm using the Rev 500, funny enough, as my only reverb, which normally I'll use Altiverb, but today I chose to use the Rev 500, and I'm using the fat plate with 60 milliseconds of pre-delay, so it just comes in like 60 milliseconds after the lead vocal sounds. So it lets the lead vocal be real present, but then the reverb swells in behind it. What else? I think that about covers it. Yeah, that's most of the mix right there. So analog mixing, I used one plug-in, printed it all back in. Now I'm gonna send it to her and hopefully she likes it. Cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.